I never imagined that unforgiveness could rot a soul the way it did mine. For years, I carried my brother's death like a stone chained to my chest. He had died suddenly in 2012, and though people around me expected tears, all I could feel was a rage that burned hotter than grief. I was angry at him, angry at myself, and most of all, angry at God. Why had God allowed him to die so young? Why had he left me with all the unspoken words, all the broken pieces? I buried those feelings deep, masking them with polite Sunday smiles, but inside, I was suffocating. The bitterness poisoned every part of me. My faith became cold, my prayers empty. And just when I thought I had numbed myself enough to survive, God shattered my world in a way I never expected. Because nothing could have prepared me for the night I saw where my brother really was. Before I go further, I want to pause and thank every single one of you watching this testimony. If you are new here, welcome. And if you have been returning to hear these powerful stories, I cannot thank you enough. Your support, your presence, and your willingness to listen means more than you know. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button, because every click, every like, every comment is the fuel that keeps this channel alive and spreading these life-changing testimonies. Please do not hold back from engaging and sharing your thoughts in the comment section. Now, let me take you deeper into my story. My name is Lynn. I am from Alaska, and I am now in my mid-40s. But the events that I am about to share began 10 years ago, in 2015. At that time, my life looked stable from the outside, but inside, it was collapsing like a house eaten through by termites. I was a churchgoer, yes. I sang in the choir sometimes, I volunteered at community drives, but I was far from God in my heart. When my brother died in 2012, it cracked something in me that I never repaired. His name was Marcus, and we were close as children, but adulthood had pulled us in different directions. He lived recklessly, made choices that I secretly judged, and when he passed suddenly, I felt robbed of closure. I blamed him for leaving me with unanswered questions, and worse, I blamed God for allowing it. My grief curdled into bitterness. I never forgave my brother, not for the mistakes he made, and not for dying without a goodbye. I tried to function as if nothing was wrong. I worked a steady job at a shipping office in Anchorage. I joined friends for coffee, laughed at their jokes, but every night when the house grew silent, I drowned myself in memories and resentment. Some nights, I drank just enough to take the edge off. Other nights, I lay awake, staring into the dark, whispering questions that went unanswered. Where was God in all of this? I believed he was real. I believed in heaven and hell, but my belief was more like a shadow than a fire. I feared him, but I did not trust him. I felt abandoned, punished, and unseen. The Bible verses I had once leaned on became hollow phrases that mocked me. Looking back, I realize how dangerous that place was. Lukewarm, bitter, and blind. But in 2015, I told myself I was just surviving. That was the year the dam inside me broke. One October evening, after a long day, I had a meltdown in my kitchen. I threw a glass against the wall. I shouted into the air, cursing my brother, cursing myself, and even daring to curse God. I felt the weight of years of silence pressing down on me until my body shook. That night was the beginning of everything, because that was the night my eyes would be forced open. The night when my bitterness took me to a place darker than any nightmare. A place I never thought I would see with my own eyes. That October night in 2015, after the glass shattered against the wall and my body shook with rage, I suddenly felt something strange. My chest grew tight, like hands were squeezing the air out of me. My head spun, and before I could call for help, everything went dark. I collapsed on the kitchen floor, and in that moment, I thought I was dying. But death was not what came. Instead, I opened my eyes to a place that no living soul should ever see. At first, it was silence. Thick, suffocating silence, the kind that made my ears ache. Then came the sound of groans, low and endless, like the earth itself was mourning. My nose filled with a stench so vile it made me gag. The smell of sulfur, smoke, and rotting flesh all mixed together. I looked around and realized I was standing in darkness deeper than midnight. Yet through the dark, I could see fires burning far away, flames that seemed alive, twisting and reaching like hungry arms. I tried to call out, but no sound left my mouth. My legs trembled beneath me as I stumbled forward. That was when I heard it. Screams. Not just one or two, but thousands layered over one another, a choir of agony that pierced through my bones. The screams carried regret, hopelessness, and despair. That was when I realized I was not alone. Shapes moved in the shadows, grotesque forms with eyes that glowed like burning coal. Their laughter was sharp, mocking, inhuman. They clawed at the air as if they could smell me, as if they wanted me. My skin crawled with terror. Every instinct inside me screamed to run. But where could I go? There was no sky, no horizon, only pits that opened up beneath the ground, each one filled with writhing souls engulfed in fire. My heart pounded as I backed away, but then I saw something that froze me in place. A face. Not just any face. It was Marcus, my brother. He was in one of the pits, his body twisted in torment, flames clinging to him like chains. His eyes locked on mine, and the scream that came out of him was worse than anything I had heard before. He cried, "Lynn!" His voice cracked and broken. He reached toward me, but his hand dissolved into flame. His face was filled with torment and regret. But what shattered me most was the recognition. This was not some stranger. This was my brother, the boy I had played with in the snow, the teenager I had argued with, the man I had secretly judged. Through his cries, I heard him speak words that burned into my soul. "Do not come here, Lynn. Please, do not follow me." Tears burned down my face, though they evaporated in the heat around me. I cried out, "Why are you here?" His answer was like a dagger. Unforgiveness, sin, rebellion. I lived my own way. I refused to let go. I mocked God's mercy, and now it is too late. I wanted to reach into the pit, to pull him out, but my hands shook helplessly. I wanted to scream at God, to beg him to save my brother, but the air around me choked every word. And then, something terrifying happened. The demons that had been circling in the shadows turned their eyes toward me. They began to laugh, pointing at me with clawed fingers. One of them hissed, "She is one of us. The bitterness in her heart already belongs here." A cold wave of realization hit me. I was not just a visitor. I was standing on the edge of becoming a prisoner myself. That was when I fell to my knees, trembling, unable to speak. My brother's screams grew louder, blending with the cries of countless others. My mind raced with fear, shame, and regret. And then I heard it. A voice, clear, strong, cutting through the chaos. Lynn. It was not the voice of a demon. It was not the cry of the lost. It was a voice like rushing water, filled with authority and love. The moment I heard it, the fires trembled and the shadows pulled back. That was when I realized I was not alone. The moment that voice called my name, everything shifted. The demons shrieked and recoiled like shadows fleeing the sunrise. The flames that had wrapped around my brother seemed to shrink, as though even hell itself could not withstand what was coming. I turned my head, and that was when I saw it. Light. A brilliant, piercing light broke through the suffocating darkness. It was not just brightness, it was purity, a presence that filled every corner with authority and peace. The voice came again, gentle but unshakable. "Lynn, you are not forgotten." My knees gave way completely, and I collapsed to the ground, sobbing. The weight of bitterness that I had carried for years pressed on me all at once. I felt naked before that light, stripped of all excuses. The demons that had been mocking me vanished into the shadows. My brother's cries echoed in the background, but now they were muffled, distant, as if God's presence had built a wall between me and the torment. Then I heard his words, words that pierced deeper than fire ever could. Go back, Lynn. Your time has not yet come. Tell them I am real. Tell them that unforgiveness is a chain that drags many souls here. Tell them to forgive while there is still time. I could not speak, only weep. The love in his voice was overwhelming, yet it carried urgency, as if he was pleading with me not to waste the chance I had been given. The next moment, I gasped and opened my eyes. I was lying on my kitchen floor, my face wet with tears, my chest aching as if my heart had been wrung out. The glass shards were still scattered on the floor, but everything felt different. The room was filled with silence, not the suffocating silence of hell, but a stillness that felt holy. I knew I had been given a second chance. From that day, my life changed completely. The first thing I did was fall on my knees and ask God to forgive me. I wept for my sins, for my unforgiveness, for the years I had lived bitter and blind. I spoke out loud what I had never been willing to say before. Lord, I forgive Marcus. I forgive him for everything. In that moment, the chain I had carried for so long snapped. I felt lighter than I had in years. I stopped hiding behind empty religion. I began to pray with honesty, not performance. I dug into the Bible with a hunger I had never known. Every verse seemed alive, whispering truth directly into my spirit. Slowly, my habits changed. The drinks I once used to numb my pain lost their hold on me. The anger I carried against others softened into compassion. Even strangers on the street felt different. I no longer saw just faces, I saw eternal souls. It has been years since that vision, and the memory of it never fades. I can still hear my brother's voice, still see the torment in his eyes. It fuels me to speak boldly, to tell anyone who will listen, hell is real. Eternity is real. Forgiveness is not optional. My message to you is simple, but it carries the weight of eternity. Do not carry unforgiveness. Do not play with sin. Do not assume tomorrow will come. Jesus is real. His mercy is real, but so is his judgment. Let me leave you with two truths that have burned themselves into my soul. Unforgiveness is a chain that drags many souls to hell. Eternity is closer than your next breath. Friend, I urge you today, make peace with God. Forgive before it is too late. Choose life. Now I want to hear from you. Do you struggle with unforgiveness like I did? What part of my testimony spoke to you the most? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Your words may be the encouragement someone else desperately needs. If this story shook you, please like, share, and subscribe. It may seem like a small click to you, but it helps this message reach thousands of people who need to hear it before it is too late. Thank you for watching, and may God's mercy guide every step you take.